Hey guys, welcome back to AF Farms for this tutorial on trees. So what I've done is I've planted a whole bunch of in-game trees and a few that require planting with the planter. So if you're not familiar with trees, the different types, what they look like, what they're used for, this video is going to really help you out. So let's jump into the build mode quickly, and we're just going to go through each one as they appear in the in-game menu. So to find the trees, you want to go to landscaping, over to trees, and then basically here they are listed left to right. So starting from the left here, we've got this small stone pine, then we've got the medium stone pine, and then we've got the large stone pine. So that's the difference in size. Now I believe these can be harvested with a tree harvester, which we'll get to in a later video, but there's only really two types of trees that you can harvest with the tree harvester versus a chainsaw, and we'll get to that soon. So right, moving on, we've got the birches. So we've got birch sapling, young birch, small birch, medium birch, and then large birch. So these sorts of trees are, you may not use them for logging, but you may use them for decoration purposes. So moving on, we've got the small oak, we've got the medium oak, and then the large oak. So you can place these trees. So if I just jump into the editor here, you can rotate them around, put them in whatever position you want, just to enhance the visual look of your farm. So moving along, we've got the small poplar, medium poplar, and large poplar right there. Next one along, we've got the small willow and the large willow. So basically the difference with the trees is, actually we'll go through the rest of them first, and then we'll have a discussion about the different types. So this is the young spruce, medium spruce, so you can see that there, getting quite high, and then the old spruce. So that's probably one of the biggest trees in the game. Platinum expansion does have some bigger trees, but that's currently the biggest in the base game. Moving along, we've got the young American elms, then the small American elm, then the medium American elm, and then the large American elm right there. Moving along again, we've got the small downy serviceberry, medium downy serviceberry, large downy serviceberry. Then we've got the small pagoda dogwood, the medium pagoda dogwood, large pagoda dogwood. Then we're onto the shagbark hickory. So we've got four options here: small shagbark hickory, medium shagbark hickory, large, and then we've got the old shagbark hickory. Alright, moving on to the pines. So we've got pine sapling. So these represent different growth states as well that you'll come across when you plant these, if you were to plant them using the planter, which we'll talk about in a second. Young pine, then we've got the small pine, then we've got the medium pine, then we've got the large pine, and then we've got the old pine. So these are all your base game trees that you can plant in the landscaping tool. Okay, now if I just jump into a vehicle, so they're basically divided into two different types. So there's deciduous, which means they lose their leaves, and ideally they're used for wood chipping. And then you've got conifers, which don't lose the leaves. So the two conifers in the game are the spruces right here, so they retain their leaves in fall, whereas all these other trees here, they lose their leaves in fall naturally. So the other conifer, so conifers are a family of tree, so the stone pines are a conifer. The issue with the stone pines is because they don't have a dead straight trunk, so you can see that one's a bit tilted. Also with that one, some tree harvesters may reject those trees for harvesting because they're not straight enough, and you can't use a tree harvester on any of these deciduous trees on the left here, except for the American elm, because of the nature of the mechanics that tree harvesters operate under. So the old pine, the pines on the end here are the other ones that you can definitely use with the tree harvester based on the size of the tree harvester you're using. Otherwise, chainsaw will cut down every single one of these trees. So it just depends on what you have available to you as to what you would use. So over here, we've got two additional trees that aren't in the decoration landscaping section. So we have the maple, which is this one here, and then we have the conifers, I believe. So I'll just double check that by jumping into the shop. So tree saplings, spruce, pine, American elm, shagbark, hickory, maple. Sorry, these are birches. So that's the birches right there. Okay, so they look a little bit like a poplar. So one of those over there, but just a bit of a smaller version. So the birch and the maple have to be treated, planted with the tree planter. All these other trees in this section here, so the spruces, the elms, all these trees can be planted with the tree planter. It's just up to you which way you want to go if you want to plant a forest. But my advice would be to probably go with the pines if you're going to do forestry, or the spruces, but just be aware the spruces can cause issues when they're tightly packed together, because there's a lot of rendering that needs to take place within the game for the graphical engine, and it can cause lag and other such things, so just be careful about that. I've got a video sort of showcasing that issue that I ran across recently. Alright, so the tree planter. So basically what you'll need is a tree planter, a tractor, and some saplings. So to find these items, you can go to this packs section, go to wood, and it will give you a selection of equipment here to get you started. Okay, otherwise, also wood chips as well, if you want to go down that path, and also poplars, which we'll cover in a different video. But basically what you're looking for the planter is you want to come into tools, forestry equipment, scroll on over, grab the Damcon PL75, and this is going to be your tree planter. So buy or lease this, and then you just need a tractor that meets the horsepower requirements, and you're good to go. So once you've got that, next thing you need to do is head into pallets, objects, pallets, and then we want to scroll over to tree saplings. And basically what you do here is you pick the species of tree that you want to plant. So we've got spruce, pine, stone pine, birch, oak, willow, maple, pagoda dogwood, shagbark hickory, American elm, cypress, downy serviceberry, spruce, pine, back to the beginning. So let's just go and buy some pines. Okay, so we've got our pine sitting there, we've got our tractor. All we need to do is come along, hook into that, drive up next to the tree planter, hit load, so I think it was L3 on PS5. Now we've got a tractor loaded, ready to go with trees. We just need to find an area to plant them. So two ways you can do this. You can either hire a worker if you've got a ploughed field, or you can just plant them wherever you like, as long as you own the land. So we own all these plots here. So all we're going to do is lower the tree planter, turn it on, and then you can see we've dropped a tree out the back straight away, and another one will pop up again, and you just keep driving along until the desired amount of trees are planted. So in this case we've just planted the 3, and you can see they're evenly spaced as we go along. So they'll have different growth time frames depending on the species of tree, and you can harvest them basically at any stage when they're obviously not saplings, but when they grow a little bit. So in the case of the pines, so you can harvest them basically from this stage onwards. Obviously you get more yield out of the tree size the longer it is, but it's up to you if you want to harvest it sooner or later. So that's basically how you get started with forestry, how you get started with doing some planting. The different types of trees, obviously, and how you... Well, actually, no, there is one more thing to cover before I forget. So, hiring a worker to plant your field. So, what I'll do quickly is jump into the... So, I'm on no man's land, and this map allows you to paint a ploughed field, right? So, as just say, for example, we've got a patch of field there. We want to plant some trees in there. So all we basically do, take our tree planter, drive it over into the corner of the field, hit hire worker, and now this worker will plant trees in this ploughed area for us. So one thing you need to be wary of is the spacing of the trees. So I'll let this guy do another run, and you'll see how closely these trees are going to be planted. So there we go, where did you put the first one? So this field is potentially not big enough for, so let's get another ploughed area happening, just to make it a little bit bigger for the guy to work in. So now what should happen is he'll come back through. So he's lined them up correctly on that run. Let's just see what he does this time. So if you were going to plant a sort of a plantation forest to do some, build a plantation of trees and then harvest them, this might be ideal. But you can see right away, this guy's, what the worker will do is plant them very close together. And what can end up happening is the forests can become very, very dense. And it can cause issues for the game graphics, so it's just something to be careful of. So I just didn't dismiss that guy. And what I'll do is I'll plant some mature trees just to showcase the point. So we'll go to the old pines. So if we line up one there, one there, one there, that's basically how they will look when they're completed. So with the pines, it's not too bad because they don't have a lot of leaves to. You don't have a lot of leaves to worry about. Whereas the spruces, on the other hand, so I'll plant some spruces just to show you. Just to show you what that looks like, because I've had an issue. I've had a massive issue with this before, so it's something you need to be careful of. So if we go a similar spacing, so let's just push this one over here, here. Now you can imagine if you had rows and rows and rows of these spruces, it's going to be very hard to drive your tractor in there. It's going to be very hard to see, and it does put a little load on the game engine. So it's up to you, and obviously there's only one type of tree harvester that will do the full-grown spruce. So the spruces that are a bit smaller, no problem. It's the full-size spruces that are the issue. So just something to be aware of if you're going to go harvesting trees and planting a forest. So look, I hope that helps you out. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments. Happy to answer them. Let me know how you go, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.